Hello and welcome everyone. So in today's video we will be talking about the second round question for Nagarro. We have covered the first round question on our last video last week, and in this video we will be covering the second round question, and then there was a third round as well. Now in the second round was also completely technical. There was nothing at all from the managerial front, so this was also a complete technical round, and number of questions asked were less compared to first round, but in this round the focus was mainly on the writing ability of your skill set. Okay, so those people who just need the questions, I'm going to add those questions in the description box. You can get it and you can practice it. Those who want an explanation as well, please remain in this video, watch it till the very end, and I'm going to cover each and every question and will try my best to help you out with that. Okay, so after the introduction part, because also always remember guys, this is the second round, so he will already have the feedback from your first round. So a quick tip here is, whenever you go for second round, always remember that they will have feedback from your round one. Based on your first round, whatever topics you were not able to explain well, you might want to take a look or might want to revise those topic, because in feedback it might be written that, let's say, you were not good in the LWC, or maybe you were not good in the asynchronous epics. So try to cover up those things which you were not able to cover in the first round. Okay. Sorry. So let's start with the second round started with the trigger scenario. Interviewer gave a scenario that on the case we have a lookup to contact, and on the contact we have a checkbox field called multiple cases. Okay, we have to write a bulkified trigger that whenever a case is inserted and parent contact is associated with multiple cases, then we'll have to mark this checkbox as true. Okay, so basically we will be writing trigger on case, and we have to perform operation on related object, which is contact. Okay, so from case we will fetch the contact associated with it, and then from that contact we will fetch the list of other cases associated with it. If there are different other cases associated with that particular contact, then that means we will have to mark the checkbox as true. Remember, he asked for a bulkified code, so make sure you write it in the bulkified manner. Make sure you use map to associate cases and contact, and then maybe a map to associate contact with a list of cases, and based on the size of list you may be able to mark the checkbox true. Approach could be different, but has to be bulkified. I have created a short video as well on this, so few of you might already have practiced this scenario, but those of you who have not practiced, please try to write this trigger on your own. Do not try to take a reference, okay, this is just like the roll up summary trigger, I will do this, I will do that. Write it. Interviewer will give you scenarios straight away. These are the different scenario which may look similar, but when you actually start writing, you may feel that, okay, this was the trick in this particular case, or maybe I needed to make a map of string and list here, compared to other where I was creating a map of string and number. So could be different as well. Try to write down as many scenarios as you can, even if they look similar. Try to write it down. Okay. Second question, I have again created a short video on this. There are two Lightning Web Components which are not directly related with each other, but they are on the same Flexi page. Now, if they are on the same Flexi page, how we will communicate between those two? Okay, we will say Lightning Message Services, and interviewer expected you to write the code of Lightning Message Services. Okay, so you will have to create the code for that, and have, see, expectation here is not that you should be able to write the complete code and completely correct code. Maybe you might miss few things here and there, but if you know the whole concepts, you will be able to tell him, okay, I will first create a channel and then I will import this, I will do that. So he will be able to understand if you know that or not, and keep on explaining those things while you are writing. That will communicate the things which you are writing, and he'll be able to see or understand your approach. If he wants you to modify your approach, then also he'll be able to tell you. Okay, so the tricky part on this was, once you will be done with lightning message services, he'll ask you to write the code for PubSub. Now there will be few people who will not be able to write the code of PubSub, because first it is not handy, we have not been writing it from last couple of months, so we might not be able to. So in that case, if you just know the concepts as well, then just explain the concept, and you can politely say that I might not be able to write down the whole code right now, because I kind of forgot that code, but I know the concepts given in a project. If I need to, I will definitely be able to figure it out. So at that time, you need not to be very defensive that, oh sorry, I'm not able to write it, and do not get discouraged because of that, because a lot of candidate will not be able to write code at this point of view for PubSub module. It is completely okay. See, even in the scenario where you are not able to write something, you will have to beat those anxiety and beat that uncomfortableness with your comfort, with your confidence that you will be able to write it given in a project. See, in today's era, it is not expected you to mug up all the code. We have support from ChatGPT and different bots available. All we need to focus on is in the problem solving. And even if you're not able to write something, it's not like because of that you will get rejected. Yeah, if you're able to present your idea, if you're able to present the solutioning or problem solving in a proper manner, maybe even if syntax is not 100% correct, that will be okay. So from that point of view, go for an interview and with that expectation. Okay, next question was, how will you communicate between parent and child? Here he is asking both, from parent to child communication and from child to parent. Start with parent to child, explain it properly, and then go from child to parent. Different ways you can communicate. What is custom event? How will you create custom event? How will parent get to know about child has created an event or has fired an event? How will you bubble it up? What is bubble? What is capture? Try to explain as much as you can, because this is a question where you will get freebies. This is a theoretical question where you will get a lot of freebies if you are able to explain. You might be able to get couple of cross questions as well based on what you say. But having said that, if you are saying if you're saying event will be published from here and then will bubble up to parent, he might ask you what is bubble versus what is capture, when to use when. So I assume that you will say only when you know these things, and if in case you get cross questions, that will be an additional freebie for you. Okay, so next question is, there is a function in a child component send email, and I want to call that function in the parent component. Okay, basically what he's asking is, in the parent component JavaScript, I want to access the child component's JavaScript method. Okay, so how will you do that? In the parent component, you will have the tag for your child component. In the parent component JavaScript, try to get the tag via query selector. Then once you get the tag, you will be able to get the method as well. So then create a variable and get the tag first, and then that variable dot method name, which is the method name in the child component, you will be able to get that. Okay, this is a very easy code. I can also add some sample code if you want me to, but this is pretty easy. If you have done it in the past, you will be able to answer it very well. If not, then you might fumble, or you might say you have not done it, but otherwise it is a very easy. So those who have not done it, definitely try it on your own in your org, in your developer org, because this is a very important interview question. Okay, and if you have seen the pattern till now, you must have realized that the focus is more on the writing part. He is more focused on the code part and practical part of it. He is not focused much on the theory. There is just one theory question you have got till now. All right, next question was about, there was future method earlier in async epics. What were the limitations that Salesforce introduced Qbel epics? Okay, so this question can be asked in different ways. Can we pass primitive data in future method? Why we cannot pass the list of a subject in future method? Altogether, they just want to understand future method and Kubernetes, what is there in future method versus what is there in Kubernetes, why Salesforce launched Kubernetes, what were the limitations of future method. So major limitation of future method is that because there is no guarantee in which order the jobs will be done. You do not get any job ID, so you cannot even check if it got executed or not. You cannot chain them. You cannot pass the list of S object. So all these limitations were there, and then they launched the Kubernetes, which has some advantage. You can pass the list of S object, you can chain the job, you will get the job ID, so that you can query the job happening, how many records processed, what failed, what not failed. All those things you can do in the Kubernetes. But having said that, future method also have their own use cases, and Kubernetes also has their own use cases. Whenever we get a problem, we analyze the problem, and then we see that which solution fits well on the problem. If we are doing a single job, then there is no point of chaining. So in that case, the chaining point goes in vain. If we do not need to be worried about the querying the job via the job ID, then job ID does not make sense. If you have to perform some operation in data which is not as object, then future method will still be relevant. If we are getting mixed TML error, then future method is still relevant. So they still have their own use cases. It does not mean that because Kubel came around 2015, future method was I think 2009-10. Kubernetes is obviously a better version of it and has different use cases. It does solve a couple of problems which you used to have in future method, but still future method has its own use cases. So do not compare it from the point of view that one is better than the other. Okay. All right. In the next question, write a use case code where you will use S object type as a parameter in Kubernetes. Basically, you'll have to write sample code for Kubernetes where the input parameter will be list of S object or a single S object. That's it. So again, a practical question on writing some Kubernetes code. So till now you have seen he asked you to write trigger, he asked you to write lightning message services, he asks you to write LWC code, and then he asks you to write the Kubernetes code as well. So he's touching the writing code part on every aspect. And then last one was about integration. First, explain the complete flow. Here he'll be expecting you to explain the outbound and inbound both flow, including authentication and authorization. So he'll be expecting you to explain the Auth 2.0 flow, and then he asks you to write sample code to do the callout as well as the web service class. So to do the callout basically means we will be writing sample code to hit a third party endpoint. Let's say you are hitting the google.com, so you will have to write a sample code where you will set the endpoint as Google, you will send some parameter, or you will have to create the instances of http request and response class, get the response, use that response to debug it or display it. That will be the callout. And web services code will be the code where you will be creating a custom web service, maybe just one method, http get method or post method, and then provide a URL mapping, and then explain how this will map, how they will create the whole URL through the URL mapping. You are expected to write the code as well as explain throughout the writing process. So as per me, this was a very tricky round, because even though questions are manageably normal and okay, but when you get to write, then it becomes really difficult. So feel free to ask any question if you have any. I'll be creating another video for the L3 round, which was techno managerial round. 70-75% it was technical again, so that was again a tough round. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.